Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I never imagined I'd be sitting here, typing this out, trying to make sense of a love story that ended before it even had a proper chance. My name is Oliver. I'm 31. And for the past 3 years, I thought I'd been building something real with Lila. She was magnetic in the most effortless way, laughing at everything, lighting up a room without even trying. People always said we looked perfect together, like one of those couples in the movies. I believed it, too. The first year was everything I thought it would be. Late night talks about dreams, random road trips for ice cream at 2 in the morning, our hands brushing every time we walked past each other. We had routines that weren't boring, they were comforting. I knew the small details about her favorite coffee order, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was nervous, how she hummed the same tune when she was happy. Felt intimate, felt safe. And then, somewhere around the second year, the cracks started showing. Not huge, earth-shattering cracks, nothing obvious at first. Just small things that didn't make sense. Her phone would light up, and she'd shield the screen quickly. She started coming home later than usual, claiming extra shifts or work meetings that never seemed to exist. I didn't ask questions. I wanted to trust her. I wanted to believe in the us we had built. I remember the first time I caught a real hint of what was going on. It wasn't dramatic. There was no fight, no confrontation. I was grabbing a book from her nightstand when a notification popped up. Just a glimpse. Really? A message from a man I didn't recognize. I froze. My heart raced, and my stomach twisted. I wanted to close the phone, pretend I didn't see it, but something in me demanded a closer look. And that's when the undeniable truth hit me. Lila was cheating. Not a vague suspicion, not something I could rationalize away. She had been seeing someone else for months. First, my mind went blank. The years, the shared laughter, the inside jokes, all of it suddenly felt fragile, like it had been an illusion from the start. Anger bubbled up, hot and sharp. My first instinct was to scream, to throw words I'd regret, to make her feel the pain I was feeling. But then, something shifted. I caught myself standing there, holding her phone, feeling my blood pressure spike, and realized that lashing out wouldn't fix anything. Not my heartbreak, not our story, not my self-respect. I could let this destroy me, or I could own it. And for the first time, I chose the latter. When I finally confronted her, I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I just looked at her, and in that moment, I saw the truth in her eyes. The way she flinched, the way her voice faltered. And I said the words that surprised even me. "Thank you for showing me who you really are." She blinked, like she hadn't expected that. There was no dramatic pause, no sudden storm of tears or apologies. Just her, caught off guard, and me strangely calm. I wasn't trying to be cruel. I wasn't trying to teach her a lesson. I was simply acknowledging reality. The truth that had been hidden under smiles, kisses, and promises. Over the next few days, I replayed everything in my mind. The little lies, the moments she wasn't fully present, the excuses. I realized I had been ignoring signs for months, maybe even years. And that realization didn't just sting. It freed me. It freed me from a relationship that was quietly hollowing me out, from a love that had become performative rather than genuine. I started seeing things more clearly. My friends, especially Hannah, who had always warned me about overtrusting people too quickly, were right. I had been blind to the cracks because I wanted love to be simple, because I wanted her to be the perfect partner I imagined. But love isn't supposed to be imagined. It's supposed to be mutual, honest, and real. And she wasn't capable of giving that to me anymore. It wasn't revenge I felt, it was clarity. I wasn't angry in the way most people expect. I wasn't plotting, I wasn't bitter. I felt a quiet sense of relief, mixed with the sadness of loss, of realizing that what I thought I had was never really mine to begin with. That first night alone in my apartment after confronting her, I sat on my bed, breathing slowly, and let the silence sink in. It hurt, yes, but it was also cleansing. I kept thinking about all the little signs I'd ignored, the moments I'd chalked up to stress or coincidence, and I realized something important. Sometimes, People show you who they are long before the truth fully hits you. The challenge is having the courage to see it and the strength to act. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in months. It was strange, almost surreal, like the apartment itself had shifted in tone. The bed that had felt suffocating the night before suddenly felt like a space I could breathe in. I wasn't rushing to call her. I wasn't checking her social media. I wasn't obsessing over what she was doing. I just sat there, staring at the sunlight spilling across the floor, and let myself exist outside of the illusion I had lived in for so long. I started telling my closest friends, bit by bit, what had happened. Hannah, as always, listened with that quiet mix of sympathy and validation that made me feel like I wasn't crazy. Ethan, my roommate and confidant, didn't sugarcoat it either. "Oliver," he said, "you dodged a bullet. You really did. You just didn't know it yet." And for the first time, I believed him. Over the next week, I made small but deliberate choices that reinforced my sense of control. I changed my routines. No more calling her just to hear her voice. No more second-guessing myself when she didn't answer texts. I started journaling, writing down thoughts I hadn't admitted to anyone, things I hadn't even admitted to myself. The act of putting words on paper was oddly liberating. I saw patterns I'd ignored, moments that should have been red flags, and suddenly, the betrayal felt less like a shock and more like a confirmation of truths I'd been too scared to face. And then came the day I ran into Lila unexpectedly at a coffee shop. My heart skipped a beat, but only for a second. She looked the same, smiling as if nothing had happened. I felt a rush of old emotions, memories of laughter, of late-night walks, of plans we had whispered in the dark. But they were just memories now, not opportunities. I smiled politely, and she hesitated, unsure of how to respond. "Hi," she said softly, and I nodded. "Hi," I replied, calm, collected, unshaken. I walked past her without looking back. It wasn't vindictive. It wasn't cruelty. It was closure. I realized that confrontation wasn't necessary, because I had already made peace internally. I didn't need her apology. I didn't need an explanation. I didn't need validation. What I needed was myself, and I had finally reclaimed that. In the weeks that followed, I started doing things I had put aside for her. My own hobbies, small trips, even just afternoons spent reading in the park. It was quiet, uneventful, and wonderfully normal. I met new people, slowly, carefully, letting connections happen without expectations. And while part of me still carried the sting of betrayal, that sting became less of a wound and more of a reminder. I deserve honesty. I deserve respect. I deserve to be with someone who chooses me every day. One evening, a few months later, I ran into Clara, a friend from work, at a local bookstore. We had talked before, lightly, about books and movies, but that evening we ended up sitting down with coffee, chatting for hours. There was laughter, genuine interest, and a connection that felt real. I realized that moving forward didn't mean forgetting the past. It meant learning from it. It meant choosing better, not settling. And that's what I did. I didn't dwell on what could have been or what she had lost. Instead, I focused on what was ahead. I made new plans, set new goals, and started opening my heart again, slowly but deliberately. I didn't need grand gestures or dramatic confrontations. I needed clarity, honesty, and self-respect, and I finally had them. Looking back now, I understand something I couldn't see in the moment. Her betrayal wasn't the end of my story. It was a turning point, a moment that forced me to see the truth, to stop ignoring the small signs, and to finally prioritize myself. And while it hurt, while I lost something I had invested so much in, I gained a freedom I hadn't realized I was missing. So, if you're listening, if you've ever felt betrayed, cheated, or taken for granted, here's what I've learned. Gratitude doesn't just exist for happy moments. It exists for painful ones too, because they show you what you're truly capable of, what boundaries you deserve, what respect you demand, and what love you are willing to fight for in the right place. I caught my fiancé cheating, and instead of yelling, crying, or breaking down, I said, "Thank you for showing me who you really are." And in that moment, I didn't just see her. I saw myself, stronger, clearer, and ready for a love that doesn't require explanation or excuses. That was the moment my life shifted, the moment I truly began again.